This week, PlugShare got a spruce up. Tesla is giving away free supercharging, and Alpitronic dials up their HYC 1000 to deliver 1 megawatt. Let's get into it. Are you in the market for a brand new electric car? Yes? Then come closer. Have I got news for you? Our friends at the CCAN Action Fund are giving away 3 brand new EVs as a part of their 8th annual Raffle for the Planet fundraiser. That means 3 winners. If you've been looking for a chance to drive off in a brand new electric vehicle, this is it. The first place winner will drive off in a brand new Rivian, Lucid, or Porsche EV. The second place winner will drive off in a highly anticipated Rivian R2 or one of the Hyundai IONNA lineup, or the very fun Volkswagen ID Buzz. The third place winner will get a Chevrolet Bolt, and they even cover state and federal taxes. So they only sell 10,000 tickets, and right now less than 4,000 are sold, so those are fantastic odds. It's only $200 per ticket, so go ahead and get yours now. To enter, go to www.evraffle.org. Pause this video right now and go to www.evraffle.org and enter to win. Or you can go down in the show notes and find the link down there. I'm here at the Charlotte Premium Outlets at a coming soon. I think you could see here, if the sun glare is not too bad, the display screen says coming soon. Mercedes-Benz high-powered charging station, which did pop into the Alternative Fuels Data Center database as a coming soon location. We are on the south side of Charlotte near the Charlotte Douglas International Airport, and I'm actually positioned getting ready to pick up my wife here shortly from a little trip she's doing, and she'll be here shortly, so I need to skedaddle and plow my way through this recording in order to make sure I make it to the cell phone lot in time. But this station is soon to open, and Mercedes-Benz high-powered charging passed a milestone and got into the news this week, so it felt like an appropriate place in which to record. Starting off, a viewer named Mike sent me these photos of the IONNA station nearing completion in Gary, Indiana. Thanks, Mike, for sending those along. Gary is a terrific location for a charging station because there's a couple of interstates that coalesce right around there, and it's a heavily traveled corridor and a great spot in order to stop and recharge before heading off into the cornfields that is the state of Indiana, or pushing through the juggernaut of traffic that is the Chicagoland area. Okay, Tesla announced 2026 free supercharging competition, and it is in 3 different regions. There's going to be 9 winners total, but only 3 in each region, and there's 3 different regions of which they're referring to. So here in our region, well, actually the rules are the same for each one of the regions, but only 3 people will win it. And let me just read through this. Winners are determined by their use of the supercharger network through the 2026 calendar year. 3 winners will be selected in each of the 3 regions for a total of 9 winners worldwide. The categories. For this competition, each of the 3 regions will have 1 winner in the following categories. 1. Longest trip. The longest continuous streak of unique supercharger locations in 2026, where each new site is visited within 24 hours of the previous session's start time. That's kind of a tall task right there. 2. Most unique supercharger visited. The highest number of unique superchargers visited in 2026. So you really got to skedaddle and get around the country in order to make that mark. 3. Most energy supercharged. This has got an Uber driver written all over it. The highest total energy charged in kilowatt hours at superchargers in 2026. Unique supercharger site is a distinct location displayed in the Tesla app or your vehicle's navigation. And so it goes on to discuss that. So let the competitions begin. We have free supercharger for the life of your vehicle. It is tied to the actual vehicle. But as long as you own that vehicle, your Tesla Supercharger from there on, if you're one of these 9 winners worldwide, 3 in our region, will be free vend. Very, very nice and noble of Tesla in order to offer this competition. And I suspect the winner is not going to be someone who's actually seeking the win. It'll likely just be someone who happenstancely completes the requirement above everyone else and is awarded. Next thing they go to charge, it won't cost anything, and they'll be like, whoa, what's going on? I don't know if that's going to be the case. I'm just speculating here, but it's kind of a fun way to gamify electric vehicle charging. And the Tesla Supercharger team, as we know, is a very noble organization, and appreciate them adding a little bit of vitality to the fun that is sometimes the drudgery of charging. Next, PlugShare announced that they are updating their app, and let me just read this post that I picked up off LinkedIn. 15 years, 10.3 million check-ins, all of it now at a glance. PlugShare now shows check-in summaries at a glance, digest of the most recent driver reviews at charging locations, live at 10,000 US locations, updating as new check-ins come in. We didn't build this from scratch, our community did. One 30-second check-in at a time, and the reviews reveal a lot about real-world charging. 35% of summaries mention nearby amenities like restrooms and food. 47% of locations flag a charger that frequently fails and often with driver-supplied fixes like try the left charger. 81% of locations are described as generally reliable. Now, I would say that PlugShare, in my opinion, is starting to lose its relevancy to some extent as ubiquity of charging stations increases. And as at any other technology, they have to constantly reinvent themselves. And I did notice these things. If you go to PlugShare, there's like this little gray box now that actually shows what appears to be an AI summary of the posts or the check-ins for that specific charging station. And it just creates a quick summary of what you're looking at. It's intuitive and it's useful. So it's a nice addition to the ChargePoint app. And I do find that as I'm sailing through, I less frequently do PlugShare check-ins. As I said, the ubiquity of charging stations is getting to the point where it's not like, oh my God, I found a charging station. Now it's like they're littered all over the place, and there's these big Alpitronic ones, there's the Tesla ones, and it just kind of feels like that ubiquity transition is starting to make PlugShare somewhat obsolete, but I still use it for multiple things, and I actually, when I did my Florida trip, went back and added PlugShare check-ins just to be supportive of the community. So I'm not sure what the future holds for PlugShare. I understand in the nation of Norway, where charging has become ubiquitous, PlugShare is no longer used because it just doesn't make sense anymore to spend the time to do that. But I'm not sure. So I guess we'll have to watch this space to see what happens. Okay, Alpitronic announced that their HYC 1000, the new unit that we have yet to see here in the States, besides at their headquarters, is now capable of 1 megawatt power delivery. And we did see something similar in a proof of concept with an AMG prototype, Mercedes car, able to dispense that amount of power. But now it's officially becoming a product. Let me just read through this really quick. From record-setting performance on the high-speed test track in Nardo, Italy, to everyday charging on the open road. For compatible vehicles, that means 10 to 80% in under 10 minutes. The HP dispenser will initially be available in Europe, available in the United States and Canada in 2027. So starting next year, we'll be able to potentially see some of these. And Mercedes-Benz has actually had some preemptory infographics where they show the HYC 1000 in use, so we suspect this network in particular will be one of the ones using the HYC 1000 and potentially the one with the HP dispenser. And what they do with their site design is they leave a couple of stalls that are not for split power. So I suspect what they'll do in their site design is create HYC 1000 stalls, with most of them being the normal dispensers, and then a few off to the side being the what they're called the HP dispensers, or the high-powered dispensers that have the higher powered cable, and somehow indicate that for cars that are the unique blend of technology that will able to support the higher throughput. And they also posted into social, I saw it on LinkedIn, a video of the new product. Let's take a look at that.
Box Charger 1.
Very interesting and exciting to see, if you have 1,000 volts and 1,000 amps that you're able to now achieve a megawatt on HYC 1000s coming to Europe and soon to the United States and Canada. And if I had to guess, this has to be in response to the BYD flash charger that is starting to become prolific in Europe. Their announced plans are to a pretty rapid expansion. And so I'd have to imagine it's at least some extent in response to that. And also in Canada, we're understanding flash chargers are going to be coming soon as well. And so I would have to say that the 1,000 volts, 1,000 amp, 1 megawatt throughput of the HYC 1000s is in some extent in response to that flash charger showing up here in the stomping grounds of Alpitronic. Next, I mentioned before how Bojangles was starting to put in electric vehicle charging at their restaurant locations. Bojangles is a Southeast fan favorite fast food restaurant that's unapologetically Southern. And their first site opened near Savannah, Georgia, and they now have their second site in Fairburn, Georgia, which is on I-85 southwest of Atlanta, open. And a PlugShare user named Ryan Grandis did a check-in where he mentions, this is very interesting, there is a QR code after you start charging that appears, which will allow you 25% off on food purchases. This is where the integration with the retail integration of an electric vehicle charging starts to do its total cost of ownership and the way of repaying the capital expense of putting in a charger on your property. Not only do you have the dwell time of a captive audience on your property, but you also now are able to coax them into your restaurant and get them hooked on your fast food, because Bojangles, once you get started, you can't stop. It's really good food, and especially if you're a Southern by birth or by adoption like I am, nothing gets you going faster than 25% off and be like, oh, well, let me just go take a look. And then once you're inside, you smell the good food. You're like, well, now I got to get something, the sweet tea or I don't know what. And so clever. So the whole retail integration aspect of electric vehicle charging is now also being experimented with Bojangles. And I don't know how extensive this will be. This is just one PlugShare check-in that I'm aware of. But in the Fairburn, Georgia location, 25% off Bojangles food once you start a charging session is now available. And sticking with the Southeast, the Tennessee Department of Environmental, I forgot what it stands for, TDEC, has awarded $2.7 million in Volkswagen Settlement Fund. Remember the Volkswagen Settlement Fund that established Electrify America? To boost fast charging across the state. And Tennessee's been a little bit slow in order to spend federal dollars, especially with NEVI. They've been very slow with NEVI. And the VW Settlement Fund also has been pretty slow. But they're now spending $2.7 million with 4 partners: Power Up America, Shore Power Technologies, the town of Thompson Station, and Universal EV Chargers will install 22 new DC fast chargers at 8 locations along key highway corridors. This work helps close remaining gaps in the Tennessee EV charging network and helps us moves towards chargers every 50 miles. Since 2022, the Fast Charge Tennessee network has already powered up 45 sites across the state, and we're not slowing down. These investments make EV... Okay, I had a bit of a thermal issue there and my phone shut down. Unfortunately, that's part of the reality of doing YouTube with the iPhone in the southern United States in the summertime. Okay, next, Mercedes-Benz high-powered charging passed a milestone of 900 ports in operation. Reading the post in social that I picked up off LinkedIn, we've reached another major milestone. 900 high-powered charging ports are now live across North America, with Tempe, Arizona marking port number 900. Since reaching 800 ports, we continued expanding our network with new places to plug in. Roseland, New Jersey, Peabody, Massachusetts, Tempe, Arizona, Sunbury, Columbus, Ohio, Estero, Florida, Orlando, Lake Nona West, Florida, Coldplay, Ohio, Orlando, Vineland, Florida, and Fort Myers, Florida. Along the way, we entered Arizona, New Jersey, Ohio for the first time, opening our first Mercedes-Benz dealership charging location in Columbus, North Ohio, and launched Lake Nona West, our largest charging site yet, with 20 high-powered charging ports. Every new site brings fast, reliable charging to more drivers and more journeys ahead. Next stop, 1,000. Congratulations to Mercedes-Benz for passing the major milestone, and I'm sure we have much more to look forward to with them, as mentioned, about the HYC 1000 coming on the horizon as well. I've been on vacation the past few weeks, and to catch everyone up on some of the major accomplishments, new station openings that I track out of the Alternative Fuels Data Center database, BP Pulse, starting, has North Bend, Washington at Travel Centers of America open with 12 stalls in the Pacific Northwest. And I had a delightful time coming back from Florida using mostly BP Pulse stations, and it really was a eye-opening. The Travel Centers of America right off Interstate 95 were really enjoyable charging locations with Alpitronic hyperchargers just like these, positioned right off the interstate. So that was definitely cool. And they also opened a GigaHub right next to the Dallas-Fort Worth International Airport in Irving, Texas, on the property of a brand new 7-Eleven that has the very iconic canopy and distinctive BP Pulse signage underneath a lit canopy, and brand new construction. It looks really beautiful. That is 16 stalls. Pilot Flying J had a very stunning increase in activity, opening 16 stations in the 3 weeks while I was gone. They're pushing towards 500 total, and they passed the 300 mark. The indication we have is that the majority of this project will be wrapped up this year, so they definitely have their work about them in order to reach that goal, and it seems as though the spike in activity is indication that they're serious about reaching that goal, and the indication we've been given is sincere. So 16 new stations opened at Pilot Flying J locations just in the past 3 weeks. Tesla Supercharger lets the dust rest on nothing in their project plan. While I was away, 30 new stations opened, with just a ton of partnerships expanding, including Target and Starbucks. I see lots of those in here. Wegman in Alexandria, Virginia opened. Royal Farms is another partnership of theirs. Lowe's, which I believe is Lowe's Food. So just tons of activity going on with the Tesla Supercharger team. And I should note that the decrease out of the Alternative Fuels Data Center database that was observed, I've been thinking about it, and they're one of the CPOs that actually, because they've been around so long, use a legacy method of passing information to the Alternative Fuels Data Center database. Instead of using an API, they use a file, and then they pass the file to them, I think once a week on Friday or something, I don't know. And all I could think of is that someone recently looked for the file they needed to update, put their entries in there, but they grabbed the wrong file that was like 4 months old. And then when they passed that file to the Alternative Fuels Data Center database, it was missing 4 months worth of entries. And the Alternative Fuels database team took that file and processed it and said, okay, done, all set. And no one's the wiser that there's, a huge chunk of superchargers that were just recently opened now vanished out of the database. And that appears to be, I'm in pure speculation mode, but that appears to be a reasonable explanation for what happened, because we're seeing additions to the Tesla network into the Alternative Fuels Data Center database, but the entries that disappeared are not coming back. Similarly, the Tesla Supercharger for Business section is also missing a large chunk of new stations, but still they have 16 new entries in the alternative fuels data center database with just a wide spread. I mean, we have the usual suspects of Francis Energy in here and Wawa, but there's all kinds of other ones. There's a new CPO called SaniCharge and Charge and Go, US Charging. So all these CPOs are starting to find a footing of using the Tesla Supercharger for Business program. And I'm not sure the business proposition that they go through in order to close these deals, but it apparently is compelling enough that it is highly successful. There's no other way of describing it. So congratulations on them. So tons of stuff going on in the Tesla Supercharger for Business arena. EVgo, similarly, and it might be tied to Pilot Flying J, it might not, I'm not sure, but coincidentally also had a terrific 3 weeks while I was away, opening many stations. The largest is a 10-stall station in Arlington, Texas at Winco Foods, and then just a spattering of 8-stall and 2 6-stalls, mostly in the state of California. That's really where their home turf is and where they seem to operate the best. But there's 3 in Texas as well, 1 in Wisconsin, 1 in Pennsylvania, and the rest all in the state of California, which is a very common distribution for their station openings. Rivian opened 4 new stations, 1 in Troy, Michigan, Wallensburg, Colorado, Yakima, Hot Springs, California, 12 stalls, and Price, Utah, 6 stalls. And I think I pronounced Yakima Hot Springs correctly. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I think the J is a H sound from Latin origins. Walmart also had a very impressive showing into the alternative fuels data center database while I was away. And I did a PlugShare sweep this past week, and it is scary. They are not playing. There is just an amazing amount of activity coming out of this Walmart EV charging program. So definitely watch this space. And the entries they put into the alternative fuels data center database seem to be clerically only a part of the overall growth that's occurring. Their clerical efforts seem to be a little bit behind what's actually going on. So in order to keep up to date, be sure to check out Landon at the Arkansas E-Traveler's reports, because he does a much better job than is currently being demonstrated in the entries into the alternative fuels data center database that I have listed here. I just do a simple query dump of the alternative fuels data center, but still it's very obvious there's just a spike in activity coming out of Walmart. The folks that I'm sitting in front of their charger, Mercedes-Benz high-powered charging, opened 4 stations, 1 in Tempe, Arizona, 1 in Peabody, Massachusetts, Sunbury, Ohio, and Roseland, New Jersey, all opened, plus 2 new stations flagged as coming soon. This station that I'm sitting at, the Charlotte Premium Outlets in Charlotte, North Carolina, near the airport, and the Domain in Austin, Texas. Circle K handed the keys of their US charging network over to IONNA. However, in Canada, they did not. And periodically, they do updates in the alternative fuels data center database. And this past week, it was one of those times. And there are 7 new stations added underneath the Couche-Tard brand. And so they're still making progress with opening stations in Canada. Lastly, our good folks at IONNA are doing a national billboard campaign. And they're very quirky, and they came up with a new one this past week on Interstate 70 in Ohio. Apparently, Columbus is known for tomatoes or ketchup or something. And the billboard reads, "Need to charge your EV? We'll help you catch up." Kind of funny. And the post in social reads, "We didn't want to squeeze too many tomato puns into one billboard, but we couldn't resist. Need a charge on Interstate 70? We'll keep you catched up. We'll help you catch up at exit 110. Thanks for watching.